All right, everyone. Steve Metrics here, No Debate Sports, with your boy.
DJ Triggs.
And together we are No Debate Sports back on the 27th of February. It is middle of nothing in the NFL except for free agency and guys running around in spandex in the next few days and a whole lot of basketball action. So how about that, DJ Triggs?
Oh man, don't get me started on basketball.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
so tired of all of basketball, like officiating. I mean, Monty Williams last night with Detroit.
Yeah, he got
I
jobbed.
know New York is supposed to be everybody's new darling, and they're supposed to love them. Well, New York's missing half of their starting lineup. Fine, I get it.
Yeah.
Julius Randle's down.
Yep.
Bogdanovich was down. They got him from Detroit,
Sure.
but DiVincenzo clearly runs a dude over,
Yeah.
like tackles him out of bounds, and there's no call. And then they end up scoring, and I'm like, and
That's
Monty
gut
Williams
wrenching.
goes off.
Yeah. And he
Fine with
absolutely
it.
had all the right in his world to go off like that. Monty Williams is a great guy. I know a little bit about him off the court. He's a great guy, absolutely awesome guy out there. So for him to be upset, clearly there's something wrong going on. But yeah, Monty's awesome, and I'm still kind of hurt that he got fired from Phoenix. But with everything that went on in Detroit last night, yeah, he has all the right in the world to be upset.
I mean, I'm not too hurt. He's like the highest paid coach in the NBA, but
Oh yes, yes,
and he has a super long contract. He just
awesome.
has to coach for Detroit. But
Hey, they'll come back.
On top of that, then Embiid goes down, right?
Yep.
Philly's all in shambles. They're all over the place, which I get it. It happens, you know.
Yeah.
We're missing Chris Middleton here in Milwaukee.
Yep.
And then that's where I got to draw the line is Milwaukee. So there's this superstar, and he's an MVP, and he hasn't sniffed the MVP in a couple years because the talking heads have their favorites.
Right.
Jokic, he had a triple-double. Cool. Second year he had a triple-double. You could kind of see he kind of pads stats.
Yep.
That's fine. Like Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon aren't rebound guys, so all the rebounds go to Jokic.
Yep.
I get it. That's fine.
Right.
But now my problem, why did Joel Embiid get these? So the first year Jokic got his MVP, they were like a 6 seed.
Okay.
Last year, Philly, my man Embiid, he puts up 30-plus points. Okay. They're like, oh, he's the leading scorer in the NBA, yada, yada, this and that. They felt bad for him finally. They gave him an MVP. What do you do with it? Nothing. That was the excuse that we got with the Bucks. They lost in the first round, even though Giannis missed like half the games. I get it. But what's the excuse now? So Embiid was like the front runner for MVP. Then they're like, or it's Jokic. Now they've got Luka, who didn't even make the playoffs last year.
He's not an MVP.
And he just puts up a bunch of empty stats, which Dallas should be a little better. They went out and got PJ Washington from Charlotte. They sent away Grant Williams. Kyrie Irving's doing his thing. Derek Lively. Remember, he was in my my draft talk at the end of the season. Center out of Duke. And but then you got Anthony Edwards. And I keep looking to my left because I actually have the stats up on my screen to my left here. Anthony Edwards is 12th in points.
Okay.
He's 12th. He's averaging 26 points. How is he an MVP candidate? Because let's see. He's at 26, 5-5.
Yeah, I think he's got to be a much higher scorer to truly be MVP. Yeah. 26 is no joke, but really to be like the number one guy in the league, we got to be talking like mid-30s.
And like I said, 5-5. He gets a steal a game. like no blocks.
Sure.
He's 12th in scoring. Then okay, I'll raise you one. SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, right?
Yeah, that guy's pretty cool.
You know, I'm big on Shea, especially because he's
Mm-hmm.
Canadian. He's
Yes.
second in scoring, 31 points a game,
Wow.
which is great. Don't get me wrong. Shoots a couple threes, hits some free throws.
Yep.
He's got 5.5 rebounds. So let's say 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, like a block a game, pretty close.
Right.
And he's an MVP candidate. Now, let me swing you to the actual MVP, and we can say I'm biased. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Giannis is averaging 31 points a game. He is shooting at 62%, which is historic.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
From everywhere?
Yeah, from the field.
Wow.
61.6%.
Holy smokes.
Mind you, he's putting up 11 rebounds a game.
Whoa.
Which, by the way, that's 6th in the league. He's scoring 3rd in the league, just behind Shea. And
Whoa.
yeah, he's giving you 6.5 assists, 1.5 blocks, or 1.5 steals, one block, and they're the 3 seed, one behind the 2 seed, Cleveland Cavaliers, who were on fire at one point.
Right.
And no one says anything about him being MVP.
Yeah, and the thing too, you have to look at an average of 1 block a game is actually quite a bit in terms of any kind of professional basketball whatsoever.
Yeah,
So
he's top 25.
Yeah,
He's top 25.
Absolutely. So I take it his field goal percentage is leading the entire NBA, correct?
I can check,
Sure.
but he's top 25 in blocks. He's top 12 in steals.
Sure.
Like, he's top 15 in assists. He's top 5 in rebounds. Top 3 in scoring. How are we not? How is he not an MVP? Let's see.
Yeah,
So
and it has felt
like,
like over the last 2 years he should have been one of the MVPs instead of
yeah.
Jokic.
So of the guys that actually play, like I'm not going to use Jakob Poeltl or Nick Claxton. He's
Sure.
Let's see, Daniel Gafford. I guess you could use him too, but let's say he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sabonis, Rudy Gobert, Jared Allen, Jalen Duren, and Zubac are in front of him. So I would say he's like 6th, but he's definitely top 10 no matter what. But there's a couple players in there that I know don't start and don't get a lot of minutes, and that's probably why their percentage is really high. And so out of all these guys in front of him, only 2 of them take more than 10 shots a game. That's Jared Allen at 10 and Sabonis at 13. Giannis is taking 19 shots a game.
That's really not a lot.
But for 62%, he's nearly doubling Jared Allen.
Yes.
He's 6 more than Sabonis.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
It's kind of like how Brock Purdy was leading the league in yardage for the NFL, but yet took like the fewest throwing attempts of any quarterback. But that dichotomy is beautiful.
But he's taking the most because on top of that, one of those guys averages 20 a game, and that's the bonus. Mind you, Giannis is averaging 31.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that is absolutely insane.
Yep. And mind you, out of those players, he doesn't even get the most minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yep. Giannis averages just above 35 minutes a game. Sabonis is up there. Rudy Gobert is up there. Jared Allen and Jalen Duren are up there.
And NBA games are 48 minutes, correct? Gotcha. So to be doing that with only playing 35 means he's doing a heck of an amount of production, and they are really saving the tread on those tires for the playoffs.
Think about, because the dude is shooting 62% from the field
It's
and
insane.
averaging 30.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I'm not 100% sure on this, but has his free throw percentage gone up this season?
Barely.
Okay.
He's at 66%.
Okay. All right. Well, that can definitely be better, but I can also say too, from a few nights ago against the Timberwolves, he absolutely ended that game by hitting every single free throw
Yep.
down the line to end that game. And he gave Milwaukee the cushion they needed so that Dame Lillard could put that clutch shot on ice.
Yeah.
And without that, we would be going uphill in that game, trailing the Timberwolves. So that's a ton of credit to Giannis just being super focused and making it so if they're going to hack him at the end of the game, he put the team on his back and he made his shots and he ended that game.
Right. It just, to me, it just blows my mind that, like, we talk about, who gets MVP and this and that. Like, it's become such a popularity contest where it's
Right.
like they don't even talk about Giannis, and they talk about the Bucks as if. And I know I told you I wanted to do this. I was on a rant and like a tirade, and like they talk about the Bucks as if they're a bad team. This entire season, oh, Giannis and Dame aren't doing this. They were the 2 seed. Yeah, they got rid
Right.
of Griffin. Yeah, that was a little messed up. I get it. But it's like they were the 2 seed. They're the 3 seed now, and they're 1 game behind Cleveland.
They are. And I think now looking at Milwaukee too, that all-star break did exactly what it needed to. It is a reset for Milwaukee. They had a huge amount of travel before that, plus the coaching change, plus they stunk at defense. Now the defense is looking really good. They're winning tight games against Minnesota, and there's more synergy to this team. And even seeing how Jamison Crowder is kind of interacting with Dame Lillard is really, really cool. Plus, I've always liked that Jamison Crowder is kind of a two-way guy. He can shoot pretty clutch, but he can also play really good defense too, get you some steals here and there. So I like too that he was a guy that wasn't getting as many minutes last season that is now starting to get his time under the Doc Rivers regime.
Right. And I know I hear a lot about, their defense and the points per game. Like, yeah, they're like bottom 10 in points against per game. But like at the end of the day, which is funny because Giannis says that a lot in his interviews, like most of the NBA is giving up between 110 and 118 points,
Yeah,
which is where the Bucks are.
right.
Like, besides that, 3 teams are giving up less than that, and 7, 8 teams are giving up more than that.
Yeah,
Every other
almost.
team is in that 8-point window.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad defense going across the NBA right now. So if you can start to figure out things and bring yourself back down to that 100 level, that's where it's at. That's
But
why
nobody's doing that.
exactly. That's why it takes a ton of ability to make it to that level. And looking at the NBA finals from 2 years ago, Golden State and Boston were both great at it, and they were around that 100-point level, and they got there. So the game against Minnesota and Milwaukee from a few nights back, that was close to that 100-point level. And when you come to playing playoff basketball, that's going to be more common against the teams that actually have better defenses. So if Milwaukee can start to do this, it's going to show that they can play good defense. And regardless of everyone playing terrible defense in the NBA, those teams that can cut it to the hundreds or get close to it, those are the teams that are going to be making it towards the end of the postseason.
Right. And that's why I've never even been worried about the Bucks, like, defensively. So I'm looking at it again. There's only 3 teams that are under 110. New
Wow.
York's at 109.
And that's a Thibodeau team, so that makes sense.
Cleveland's at 109.
Okay.
And Minnesota's at 106. But
Sure.
all three of those teams barely, like, they don't score very well.
Right.
And the Bucks are 7 points more points for per game than any of those teams. The
Sure.
Bucks are the number 2. Well, actually, no, it's 9. Sorry. The Bucks are the number 2 offense in the NFL or NBA. And it's like, yeah, they give up a lot of points, but they blow teams out. Like
Absolutely.
They score 122 points a game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, being able to score that much is huge. If you can do both, if you can score a lot, keep teams down, that's really going to showcase itself later into the NBA season. And I think now you really got to look at Milwaukee and really take a step back and look at how this team is doing under Doc Rivers. So since the All-Star break, because it's pretty much a new deck. They still have a good record. They still have a lot of great players, but really having that time off, being able to reset and really figure out how to orchestrate this team, Doc needed that time. Plus, having to play almost all those games on the road was pretty tough. So now being able to reset, refocus at home, you have Doc, you have Giannis and Dame coming off the All-Star break. Now they've played against two pretty good teams in Minnesota and Philadelphia. Now they have the Chicago game coming up on Friday. I think this team is really setting themselves in a good trajectory, and it's new. It is totally fresh. You can't just go off of what you saw under Adrian Griffin. I think this is a new look, and if they really keep this momentum moving, I think that's going to bring some new eyes and some new recognition that the Bucks absolutely deserve.
Right. I just don't understand why the Bucks aren't talked about and Giannis isn't an MVP candidate. It like you could probably get his odds for so low.
Sure. Yeah, I think I think him and Jason Tatum have very interesting odds. And honestly, those are going to be probably the two best teams playing for their chance to go to the NBA finals when it's all said and done. And just being at how the West is such a hodgepodge of so many good teams, I don't really know if anyone outside of Nikola Jokic is really coming out of the West. I do like SGA. He's pretty solid too, but we're gonna have to see OKC go on a real big run to really dethrone Jokic, I think. But I think the guys in the East, whether it's Tatum or Giannis, stand a little bit better shot to win MVP because they have less resistance coming out of that conference. So I'm with you. I think if I'm taking odds on NBA Finals NBA regular season MVP, I would much rather look at Giannis or Tatum because I think they're both have a stronger case than Jokic, and their odds are just insane.
But even like Tatum, he's putting up like 26, 8, and 5. Giannis is killing those numbers with ease. Like,
yeah,
his points are like 6 or 7 points higher. His rebounding is like 3 or 4 higher. His assists are 1 or 2 higher. Like, like to me, it just becomes a popularity contest and whoever they like at that moment. And like, it's not about who's the best player in the world or who's the best player at the time or who's most valuable to this actual team.
Yeah,
it drives me insane.
Yeah, I definitely kind of share some of that on the NFL side, and especially when it happens on the NFL side and it happens in a game that has millions upon millions of eyes on it in the playoffs, and you realize that the person that got MVP is clearly not the MVP because he had the team on his back and fell apart. So I have my same frustrations in the NFL, feeling that MVP was totally deserving for Christian McCaffrey, and pretty bummed out about that. So,
but at least in that one though, like there's a case for Lamar. Like he had nearly 1,000 rushing yards. He had a pretty decent passing season, but like in the basketball world, Giannis isn't even getting talked about. Like
Right.
literally, SGA and Jokic when Embiid was playing, Jason Tatum, like that's 5 dudes in front of him where it's like, wow, he's the number 3 seed, 1 game back of the 2.
Yep.
He's been that way the entire season, and he's blowing everyone away in stats.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah. So, yeah, he absolutely deserves to be up there. And I mean, on the NFL side, yeah, Lamar had his reasons to be up there, but personally, when it comes to quarterbacks, I feel like you do with Giannis that in my opinion, I did not think Lamar was truly a top 5, and I think injury did play into that a little bit. And it sucks because like what you're talking about with the NBA, I mean, Embiid has gotten hurt, and that's going to affect him negatively. In the NFL, we saw CJ Stroud get hurt, and that affected him negatively. Even a little bit of Christian McCaffrey getting hurt, same thing. But a guy like Giannis, who is just absolutely dominating and watching the games, I mean, holy smokes, the guy is absolutely insane. So, and not only that, I mean, he's hitting free throws, he's hitting 3-point shots. He has great style to his game, and Milwaukee is absolutely doing what they're doing on the back of Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I really don't understand it, and I'm also with you on this that I'm shocked that more people didn't really talk about this Milwaukee Minnesota game because that game was not easy. That like Minnesota is a really good looking team, and for Milwaukee to go into Minnesota and get that win, it's tough. That is a really, really tough team to play against. And for Milwaukee, for going what they've gone through recently, I give a lot more respect to Milwaukee, and I think they're deeper than people think too.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about this today. Like picking up Pat Beverly, Jay Crowder coming back, Malik Beasley is
Mhm.
the number 1 3-point shooter in the NBA. Like you
There's
have Dame and
still no
Giannis.
Middleton, right?
Right, still no Middleton. Bobby Portis is putting up 6-man of the year numbers.
Yep.
Brooke Lopez is no slouch. I mean, he should have been defensive player of the year multiple times over. And it's
Right.
like, but we give it to Rudy Gobert like 5 times.
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Right. And I always kind of look at the NBA now, and especially since seeing the Milwaukee Bucks win the NBA Finals, and even the year before that, seeing the LA Lakers win the NBA Finals when everyone was in Florida for COVID for the bubble. You really look at it, and a NBA championship team to me really reminds me of these teams in the NCAA tournament. And I go to Rick Pitino. I look at how he has coached over the years, and when he's won with his dominant teams, he wins with like 7, 8 guys deep. And when I saw that with the Lakers, and I saw that with the Bucks, and even sort of with the Denver Nuggets too, they win with depth. And Golden State, maybe not so much because he had Steph and Durant. But outside of Golden State, Denver, Milwaukee, and the LA Lakers, all 3 of those teams were like 7 players deep.
See, in the NBA, like you want to go like 10 to 12 during the regular season and probably like 8, 9 in the playoffs. And it's like that's kind of what the Bucks are, even at like this rate. Like Pat Connaughton doesn't get that many minutes. And in that championship window, Pat Connaughton was a big piece off the bench.
Oh, he was huge.
And it's like now they have, for lack of a better word, we'll use what PJ Tucker said. They have a bunch of dogs like Jay Crowder, Pat Bev, Brooke Lopez to an extent, like
Yeah.
Bobby Portis.
Portis.
Like, those are dogs. And Giannis to an extent, because Giannis will dive on the ground, get some blocks, get some steals,
yeah.
and like
He goes all out.
yeah. And it's like you have 3, 4 guys that will get nasty with you. And
Absolutely.
you need that in the playoffs.
You do. And the thing too with Dame Lillard, and I've now gotten to the point where yes, I love Drew Holiday, but I've gotten to the point where I'm looking this and I'm moving forward. There are qualities in Dame Lillard that I absolutely love. I love the guy that the guy is cold blooded. He's got that blue blooded, almost Baltimore Ravens kind of mentality that he's doing his thing. He loves it, and he's got that really focused attitude that you want in guys in the postseason. And I'm glad we have that. Like you don't see too much of that too often. So to have a guy who has that attitude and is a cold-blooded assassin, I haven't really seen that in the Milwaukee Bucks recently. So I'm actually really glad that we have Dame Lillard now.
Agreed. And that was the big part of the trade to me too, is like Dame's a 30-point scorer. Yeah. He's down to what, like 24, 25 now?
Yeah.
But it's like that dude can go off whenever.
Oh, and he will in the postseason.
Right. And
he will put the team on his back.
One of the big things about that that playoff team or that championship team, most people don't remember Giannis got hurt during that Atlanta series.
Yes, he did.
And it was scary. We thought it was over.
Yeah, we thought Atlanta would take it. Yep.
And Middleton went off.
Yes, he did.
Like 40 points here, there. And then once Giannis came back, it was like, okay, here we go. And then Giannis goes off. And it's like, and I think even Brook Lopez had a big game at one point.
Yep.
And it's like,
absolutely.
That's what you're looking for. Middleton hasn't been able to do that the last couple of seasons because he's been hurt. And even losing to Miami in the first round, Giannis was hurt half that series.
Yep.
So it's like Dame is usually pretty good about not getting hurt, you know.
Yeah, he's crazy healthy, even going back to his time pretty much right out of leaving college and coming into the NBA. I think he's also the I'm not 100% on this, but I want to say he has made the NBA All-Star game every single year since his rookie season. I don't think that's happened before. So he's been in the league like 8 years or something like that. He still feels fairly young, and it's not that long ago that I remember him at Weber State really hanging him up and doing pretty well back in March Madness. So Dame Lillard's an awesome guy. And plus Weber State, that's up in Utah, so he's definitely got that Mountain West athleticism and conditioning. So he's just all around really cool guy. And he kind of reminds me too of almost like Aaron Rodgers being a Green Bay Packer, how Aaron was so cold-blooded at times. And Dame's got that. He's got that natural shooting motion that is just absolutely gorgeous. And he just ends games. So to have that with him, to have that with Giannis, we will be getting back Middleton. And the other guy who I like a lot as a shooter is Jamison Crowder. Getting him more playing time and having him and Dame out there at the same time, I think is going to do some really cool things. So I'm glad we now have a coach who is into that. And plus, I think he's going to have a little inside pull into that because both Jameson and Doc are Marquette alums. So it helps. It helps. So I like it. I'm really excited for that.
So Dame's been around for 12 years and he's 33. So, I mean, he's got some run on the tires.
Okay. Yeah, he does. He does. But, man, he looks good, man. I give him a lot of credit. Both guys in their 30s that look good are, to me, Dame and obviously the guy you got traded for in Drew Holiday. They both look pretty young for being how long they've been in the league. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And, I mean, of course, LeBron, you know, he's like 50 million years old.
Yeah, he is. Man, there are things that it's weird because I like what the guy does when he's on the court, but when he's off the court, man, it's rough.
Same.
But yeah, I mean, his style of play on the court is awesome. and it is really cool to watch. I definitely give him a lot of credit, but off the court, there is just way too much drama surrounding the guy, and it sucks.
I mean, look at his recent, and this is why I have to go off on the entire NBA.
Yeah,
I know Giannis was a big deal, but now LeBron's bashing mock drafts that don't have his son in it. Like, what are we
yeah,
doing? The dude has
yeah,
played. He averages like 3 points a game. Like,
yeah,
what? We're gonna draft him because he's LeBron's son, of course. But
yeah. No,
he's an okay player.
yeah. I think Bronny, from what I see, I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great person. He seems to, obviously, with LeBron being his father, he's going to have his head on straight. Both guys are really good people off the court, but with Bronny, he's not a professional athlete. Just like you say, Southern Cal in the Pac-12, which is a conference that will no longer exist for really odd reasons, but they're like 11th in that conference, and Bronny is one of their more recognized players. I'm not going to say star player, but he's clearly not going to be in the NBA. I don't see it. Maybe he'll be a G League player or something like that, but he's not a professional player. LeBron's younger son will be. That guy is real. But Bronny is the heart condition is real, and I wish the best for him. I hope everything works well with him taking care of that, just like DeMar Hamlin. But neither of those guys should be really focused on professional sports. Just focus on your life, do what you want to do next outside of sports, and do that and live your life. But I think them really trying to push their bodies and exert for that professional thing is just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know. Like,
And LeBron's going to play where LeBron wants to play. He's not going to play where his son plays, to be honest. And Bron, well, by the time his youngest son will get in the league, he'll probably be done. But I think the thing is going to shape up that LeBron after the season. I still think it would be really cool for him to take that spot that Kevin Durant had with the Golden State Warriors and team up with the Golden State Warriors. I think that would be really fun to watch.
that was the big thing at the trade deadline, apparently, that Golden State reached out to try and trade for LeBron, and LeBron and the Lakers said no. And in my head, I'm like,
No,
hmm,
no, I don't think so. I don't think it went that way.
that
I
that's literally the big what's his name? Uh, Not Genie Bus, but the
Rob
other,
Pelinka?
yeah, like he literally said it. He was like,
Ah,
we weren't gonna trade him, like he wasn't on the block, blah blah blah. But the Golden State Warriors, it was announced they like reached out to LeBron, uh, Embiid, and someone else, and
oh.
they got knocked down on all of them.
So we're talking like a probably a 3-team deal. Probably
No, no,
Philadelphia would be in the
no, they were
mix.
just like reaching out to stars to see who they could get.
Oh,
Let
I
me see if I
gotcha.
can find it.
I gotcha. Yeah, I am with you on this. I do think Golden State absolutely does have to make a move like that. I think some of Golden State's younger guys are not really up to where they think they are. I think Wiggins is pretty solid. I think Kaminga is pretty solid. I like Podzinski from Greenfield and
Yep.
Sacramento State. I think he's great. Man, it's kind of weird. I don't know. I just don't think any team is going to really budge for Klay Thompson. I think he's damaged goods. So if you're really thinking about this, what does Golden State have to really offer to land LeBron James? I'm not too sure about this because obviously Draymond Green would want to play with LeBron James because they're pretty tight. So I'm just trying to think of what Golden State would have to give up. And unfortunately, if I had to go with anyone outside of Steph and Draymond Green and Kaminga, I think it would probably it would have to be a combination of both Wiggins and unfortunately my guy Podzinski.
So I just found it real quick. They reached out to Rich Paul, who's LeBron's
Yeah.
agent,
Yep.
and owner Jeannie Buss, and they both denied that LeBron was interested. And then
Yeah, that's a
after that,
cover. That's a cover.
they reached out to Daryl Morey about Joel Embiid. They were nixed on that, and then um, Dunleavy also reached out to Phoenix about Kevin Durant.
To come back?
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. I do think there is still that possibility that Durant does bounce back if the Phoenix thing doesn't pan out. And I think that's very realistic. I mean, him with Beasley, like that's gotta work. And if it doesn't, I think he's out.
Yeah. I don't know how the Suns like hold up till the playoffs. So I mean, it could have been a good idea to try to get Durant back over to Golden State.
Yeah.
If they would have got Joel Embiid, jeez Louise, like that would be nuts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I think Embiid would be pretty good, but I'm not gonna. I say that pre meniscus. I mean, I have a few people close to me in my life that have gone through meniscus injuries, and they're no joke. And I think Embiid at this point for the remainder of this season, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Just looking at the standings, they're kind of falling backwards. I mean,
Yeah,
they're one game up on Miami and Indiana for the 6th and 7th. Orlando's 1.5 behind for 8th. So, like, I mean, Philly's 3 and 7 in their last 10. So
yeah, yeah. If
Embiid's
I'm
not coming back until the end of the season.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm Philly at this point, I look at what we have to do medically to take care of him to the nth degree and shut him down and be ready to move Embiid going into the off season and get him to another team and move forward. I think that's the best plan of attack for Philadelphia.
Maybe that Golden State trade wasn't a bad idea. I mean, if you could
Exactly.
get like a Clay Thompson, a Jonathan Kuminga, I know he wasn't really working out there for a little bit, and maybe
Right.
an Andrew Wiggins,
Yes.
that might be a solid package.
I think you can pull off those three. I think that would absolutely be legit to bring in a Joel Embiid for sure.
And Philly, man, like if you put Clay Thompson, Jonathan Kuminga with Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, like they could be studly.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that could be a trade that works out both sides in a way. And if Embiid were to go down again, that trade would greatly benefit Philadelphia on the other side.
Right, right. Yeah. I don't know. The East is kind of like all together. The West is kind of all together.
It is.
At least it'll come down to the wire. That'll be fun.
It will. And I know we want to say in professional sports that the NBA is very heavy in the West and the NFL is very heavy in the AFC. But I do feel that these two divisions are both kind of coming back down to earth. And the other side is getting as strong, even though it doesn't have such a loaded lineup of teams that are basically all clumped together for being a lot of good. And when you have a little bit of great, that little bit of great is going to be like the cream that rises to the top above the good. What that great is out west, maybe it's just Denver, but I think the biggest thing that Denver has going for it is if it can be a high seed going into the playoffs, they're really going to ride that elevation more than anything. Are they truly a great team on a neutral site? Maybe.
Yeah. I, I'm kind of just I don't think that West is as stacked as people think
I agree.
because like the 8, maybe 9 through the bottom is pretty bad. And
Yeah.
like 8, 9 in the East, like Orlando was at the top of the standings at one point this season.
Yep.
Like 9 in Chicago. Yeah, Chicago's lost a lot of pieces, but like they're pretty solid.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that game Friday will be worth watching for sure.
Yeah. The Bucks have Charlotte for the next 2, I think Tuesday and Thursday, back to like home and away.
Yeah.
And then they go to Chicago, and I'm like, all 3 of those games are winnable.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I think those games will be very interesting. Watching how Milwaukee is trending in this new direction that they got under Doc Rivers post All-Star break. So I think it'll be a pretty good look. So yeah, I think it'll be good stuff moving forward.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to find the, oh my gosh. Yep, that game's over.
okay.
Well, not over, but the Bucks are up 32.
Oh, against Houston?
Charlotte.
Oh, Charlotte. Yeah. Yeah, Charlotte is not a good basketball team at the moment, and they're going to take some time. That franchise, they really got to reestablish themselves post Michael Jordan. I think Michael Jordan was a terrible owner.
Yeah, I can't even say that because like the guys that they drafted all just got hurt. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Emeka Okafor gone, Jaleel Okafor gone, or no, Jaleel was Philly, but like now I have to sit here and think about it. Was it Brevin Knight? Oh, it's gonna eat at my
I
brain.
mean, Terry Rozier was there, or
Yeah,
is there? I don't know. It's like the guy's gone since he left Boston. It's like he doesn't even play in the NBA anymore.
no, he got traded to Miami and he was doing pretty well, but then he got injured like
Oh,
the second or third game,
gotcha.
and I think it's pretty bad.
Oh, ugh. Yeah.
Oh
But
man, I don't know if you can hear this, but holy cow! I mean, we had a barn burner today where it was like 70 degrees.
yeah, we did.
The storm is just blasting my house.
Okay, yeah, I think I had some severe weather earlier in the show. I'd say about maybe about 10 minutes ago. I thought I heard some thunder and I thought I had the lights flicker in our studio down here in the basement. Just want to double check what is going on outside. So I'm
Yeah,
pulling up some radar here, and yep, sure enough, it definitely went by me, and it is now up in your neck of the woods.
yeah. If I lose signal,
Yep.
it's definitely this because man, it just shook my window, and I was like,
Whoa.
"Whoa!"
Yeah. Yeah. I heard a little bit of stuff upstairs. Sounded like almost like a UPS truck driving by, but it was definitely thunder. And then I saw the lights flicker for a split second. But I think it is now up in your neck of the woods for a few minutes here. So yeah, it's we got some wild weather going on here in the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. So yeah, it has not been a good February, that's for sure. Even though it's warm, it's not looking good.
Yeah, and I hear we might get snow too, so I'm
Yeah,
very confused on how this works. You
yeah,
go from
it's
70 degrees to snow.
yeah, 70 degrees to snow, and I'm hearing like wind chills of like close to like zero.
Really?
So yeah, like really cold wind chills. So yeah, it's gonna be weird weather. I mean, looking at basically 20-mile-an-hour winds for most of tomorrow, and we will be in the 20s for most of the day.
Wow. And
Yeah,
then it's 60 again on Saturday, like
yeah,
because I know I'm traveling up north, and yeah, I don't know Wisconsin.
yeah, I don't know. But there you go, everyone. You get a little bit of weather mixed in today's sports show, so
Oh,
that's no debate right there.
so
So
I was actually looking up these Charlotte Bobcats like draft picks. They're not as bad as I remember. There's a
okay.
lot of bad ones, but like DJ Augustine,
Oh, he was
long
good.
long point guard,
Yep.
Tobias Harris,
Okay.
Gerald Henderson, uh,
That one I don't
Jared
remember.
Dudley, Raymond
Okay.
Felton,
Yep. Yep. Felton was
Adam
pretty good from
Morrison was a miss.
Kansas.
Adam Morrison was a miss. I get
Yeah,
it.
that was a miss, and he
Michael Kidd
stunk at
Gilchrist,
Gonzaga.
he was bad.
Yes.
Like Dwight Powell is still with Dallas.
Okay.
Frank Kaminsky, Wisconsin.
Oh, Frank the Tank. I love that pick.
Malik Monk.
Yeah, it got better on the back end, like in the recent years. Kind of around the time of Lonzo Ball. That's when it got better.
They actually drafted Shea.
Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. This is definitely a Jordan miss then. Because to draft a guy that's awesome like that and then deal him, oof, that don't excuse me, that does not look good.
Yeah, I didn't even know that happened. Now I'm kind of
Yikes.
like, what?
Yeah. Some odd ownership decisions by Michael Jordan. And I mean, Michael's a great guy outside of the Charlotte Hornets, Bobcats, whatever they're called. And when it comes to being a businessman, he is top notch. But when it comes to being an owner of a franchise, no, it's not working right.
Wow. Miles Bridges and 2 second-round picks got Shea.
Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, and the thing is too, like draft picks in the NBA are even more of a gamble than the NFL ones because in the NBA there's only 2 rounds, which is weird. I think it should at least be more than that. But yeah, that's not great when you're trading basically an MVP away for draft picks.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeesh.
But what can you do, right?
Yeah, yeah. I guess you sell the team, make money, and walk away.
I mean, he made a buttload of money, though.
There you go. There you go. That's no debate. Good for him.
Plus 2023.
Whoa.
Oh, we have the voice of No Debate Sports chiming in.
I think my Google Home must have reset.
Oh, okay.
Maybe something did go out. Holy cow.
Interesting. The house is talking to you, DJ Triggs.
Yeah, or
That-
or it's haunted. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, that was a pretty that was kind of like the voice of like Morgan Freeman talking to us. Like that was cool. That was pretty cool. Yeah, I've seen a few movies where it gets a little spooky like that. So
Yeah, I'm looking around now and I'm like, all right, let's just make sure nothing else starts talking to me.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not into those Google Home things for that exact reason. I do not want to be talking to things like that. I just don't. That's no debate. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there you go. So I think we got a lot of NBA talk in. Pretty good stuff for the show tonight, I'm thinking. I think probably next week we start to talk a little bit more about some NFL stuff that we see from the combine and whatnot. We'll see. We got guys running around in spandex. We got some franchise tag stuff and possibly some players on the move. So definitely some big time quarterbacks movement going on, I think. And I think we'll have at least 1 or 2 of them by the time we reconvene next week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll see if DJ Triggs has more crazy technology talking to him in the background. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw that, but lightning just lit up my patio.
Wow.
because I'm by my patio, my back patio window,
Holy
and
smokes.
geez, like that's when my head keeps like turning. Oh, there it goes again.
Oh,
Woo,
woo.
yeah,
That's wild, man. Yeah, I'm kind of in a bunker sort of in the studio, but if I get anything, I see lights flicker. So yeah, a little different over here where you have the outside world nearby up by you. So
yeah.
that's some interesting stuff.
I don't
So
like the outside world very much.
oh, I don't blame you. Yeah, it's what was it like? Talking to people is great, but people not so much. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's no debate right there.
Oh
So
man. So
uh
like
oh,
I just pulled up the radar because like the flashing lights are going nuts over here.
uh
So it's
oh.
gonna stop raining by like 10, and
Okay.
then we got snow by like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, that is some crazy, crazy looking stuff. We got some wild, wild weather going on around here. I think the jet stream might be moving through or something like that. So it definitely gets violent. That's for sure when that happens.
Yeah.
So there we go. Hopefully we got some more calm weather next week, but some wild things going on in sports. So yeah, for that, I'm Steve Metrics. That's your boy.
Hopefully DJ Triggs for a while.
Yeah, hopefully DJ Triggs or Google Home or Assistant or a ghost. But we'll all be here regardless next week, same time, 7:30, all the platforms below. And that's no debate.